Then let's maybe discuss Taiwan and East Asian relations at large, if we may.
Yeah, sure.
Just wanted to get your thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a problem, an inherent problem between Taiwan and China? And if there is there a true resolution to the Taiwan-China conflict?
I think for Taiwanese people, no one would deny or no one would disagree that we have to talk to China, or we have to have some kind of platform on which we can sort of share some ideas, exchange some ideas to prevent a war, not just only between Taiwan and China, but also the war in East Asia.
Yeah.
I think having that kind of peace is, I would say, it's a kind of common goal and consensus. And I do believe, like, over the past few years, 8 years, and now there will be another term led by DPP, Democratic Progress Party in Taiwan. They just got elected as a president. I think during the Tsai Ing-wen's administration, I think she did send a clear message to the Chinese government that, no, it's fine, we need to talk.
Yeah.
But the point is that they have to respect the Taiwanese political will, because we are a democratic country, and then anyone who is holding the power, being a president, they have to respect, they have to listen to Taiwanese people's political will.
Yeah.
And I believe this is the biggest difference between Taiwan and China. So it shouldn't be only decided by only one person. It has to go through like a democratic process.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever the outcome may be, war is not an option in East Asia.
No, I don't think anyone...
There's too much at stake.
Yeah.
Way too much.
But having said that, because we know the Chinese government has never sort of given up that idea to sort of use the force to what they call liberate Taiwan. So in that kind of, on that kind of condition, like we have to prepare ourselves. Yeah. I know it's kind of the dilemma.
Well, historically speaking, Russia has not been afraid of kinetic altercations. China, we haven't really seen an explicit example of that. So I hope that, they do shy away and are very cautious of any real militaristic altercations in the region. Do you really think China would be willing to go to war for Taiwan?
Tough. I'm not sure. Like, at least I don't think that would happen at least in this year.
Hope not. What do you mean this year?
Because I don't know. Like, I would not rule out their intention to sort of launch a war with Taiwan. I would not rule out that kind of option.
Then nationally in Taiwan, for Taiwan citizens, if they had a choice, and maybe again this might have to be off the record, is between defending the country militaristically to fight for the democratic freedom versus conforming to a new kind of Chinese rule that might undermine the way in which the citizens of Taiwan live and go about their day-to-day now. What do you think an average Taiwanese person would choose?
I am pretty confident that most people will go with the first option.
Really? Wow.
Because, well, if we discuss this topic or question like maybe 5 years ago,
Mm.
or maybe long before, we could have got a quite different answer. But now I do believe like many Taiwanese people like would like to fight for what we have now in terms of the value, in terms of the ways of living, in terms of everything. Yes, I know there are some people who might argue that, you know, we both speak Mandarin Chinese, right? Our ancestors came from,
back.
yeah. But now, like, we are having a different system, having a different way of living, and I think most people would like to sort of fight for that. Yeah.
What do you think has changed in the past 5 years?
Hong Kong. What's happening in Hong Kong? Yeah. So one state two system doesn't work out in Hong Kong, right? We have seen that since even before 2019, right? Yeah. So what's happening in Hong Kong does send a message to, or signaling a message to most Taiwanese people. And it basically like that kind of second option, as you just said, just doesn't convince anyone I know, you know.
I served in the Marine Corps in Korea, and I did a combined exercise in the Philippines called the Kamandog exercise in 2022. It was a sort of a trilateral exercise between, well, actually 4 countries involved. United States, mainly United States Marine Corps, South Republic of Korea Marine Corps, the Philippines Marines, and Japanese Self-Defense Force, their sort of maritime unit. That was a very interesting experience. First, because they say that the exercise is for the purpose of humanitarian assistance, but obviously you don't really need an osprey full of infantry and Marines jumping out of the sky for humanitarian assistance. And yeah, obviously that exercise was for a potential conflict rising in Taiwan, between Taiwan and China. And what a lot of the Marine Corps commanders in the United States Marine Corps commanders that I've spoken to told me was that a lot of generals and colonels and Marines that have experience in the Middle East are being relocated to the divisions that are responsible for East Asia, operations in the East Asia region, which obviously that kind of explains why, it's self-explanatory. And that just sounds extremely scary to me, because obviously we have North Korea too right there.
Yes.
Which is and I'm obviously not an expert, so I can't really say, but I'm sure that they can't really act on their own without permission from China. For example, if they wanted to wage a war against South Korea, then I don't think that they can do that without Chinese support.
Yeah.
So it's a complex, it's a very complex geopolitical situation with a very complex history. I mean, that was really the first stage of Cold War in a way as well, right?
True,
between
yes.
South and North Korea.
Yeah.
And people forget about that. It's like the forgotten war. So all the more dangerous. And I mean, we've come a long way, South Korea as a country, to build the society that we have today.
It's really impressive.
And obviously we want to defend that, even if that means bearing arms. And, obviously that's what we do. Every South Korean male has to serve in the military. But also, war means a destruction of everything that we know today. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like, and after I've served in the Marines, I feel like you have to prepare for the worst. The military has to prepare for the worst situation possible. Maybe the government has to aim for the best possible scenario.
Yeah.
And if you're talking, then you're not fighting. But you always have to be prepared for the worst in terms of military.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think like any state leaders don't want to participate in war, but they got to prepare for that. As you said, they got to prepare for the worst. And any state leaders would like to resolve any issues and conflict via like diplomatic means. So launching a war using that kind of military means is the last resort.
The thing is, and there's a saying, that wars are fought by young people that don't know each other for old people that know each other. And, that's the part that is upsetting is, yes, you are fighting to protect your country, but at the same time, the decisions and the conflicts are being made, and the conflicts are happening at a higher level in which you have no clue of. So
true. And speaking of that, I know like in the past few years during the Tsai Ing-wen's administration, there are quite a lot of criticisms about her leadership. So basically just say like they are sort of warmonger. Like they use that kind of scenario of launching a war or having a war between Taiwan and China to get popularity. But I think that's not very true, because again, like she was elected president, right? And Taiwan is a democratic society, and as I just said, like any state leader should represent the Taiwan people's political will. So it's not like that kind of idea or threatening people that there might be a war, we got to prepare. It's not from her herself. I think like people do have that kind of sense that before the Chinese government gave up the idea or gave up that thought of having a war or liberating what they call liberated Taiwan, then we got to prepare for that.
Yeah.
So I would say that's kind of a sort of a sum up of Taiwan's people's political will. So it's not necessarily like Taiwanese people were kind of manipulated by the president. I don't think so. Yeah.